Gentlelady's time has expired. I'm going to ask one question to follow up on the gentlelady's. Sir, since it is, well, black letter law that someone in the United States may apply for asylum, that any person who applies for asylum and states a reason, therefore, is entitled to have that claim adjudicated, that that person is entitled to legal assistance as that claim is adjudicated. Doesn't it strike you that a policy that says that people who set foot on American soil and claim asylum will be sent to a foreign country where they may not have access to legal help, which they are constitutionally guaranteed for their asylum adjudication, may have a constitutional problem?
Congressman, I'm sure you're aware that federal law allows asylum seekers to be returned to a safe third country.
I'm not aware, though, that it allows people not that allows the government to do something that effectively eliminates their right to counsel for their asylum claim. This concludes today's hearing. I want to thank all the members who are still here for their patience and their fortitude. I want to thank Attorney General Whitaker for appearing today.
And now I'm going to attack him like a fucking dog and call him a liar and a crook.
Ms. Jackson-Lee.
I thank you. I'm not asking, I'm putting these questions on the record.
Excuse me, submit them for the record.
Yeah, I will submit them for a record regarding...
Without objection, the questions are admitted.
And the article, and three articles for the record, GQ, Washington Post, New York Times, and also an article by Shane Croucher.
Without objection, the articles are admitted. Before we adjourn, I want to note for the record that, Mr. Whitaker, that you owe us responses on a number of issues raised here today, responses that we intend to secure, including but not limited to
in 4 days.
the times and dates you were briefed on the special counsel's investigation, your communications with the president after you received those briefings, the basis for your statement that the special counsel's investigation is reaching its conclusion, and whether you told the special counsel not to take any specific investigative or prosecutorial steps. I would also note that your testimony was at best inconsistent on the topic of your communications with the White House prior to your tenure at the department. It is not credible that you both interviewed for a job handling the president's response to the special counsel's investigation and never conveyed your opinions about that investigation to the White House. We require answers to these questions. I ask the department to work with the committee.
We haven't received the report.
Has there been a draft opinion about keeping it from going to Congress? You know,
Congressman, I'm not going to talk about the kind of ongoing investigation that is the special counsel. I will share with you that...
Mr. Whitaker, did Donald Trump ask you if you would recuse before you became acting attorney general? If that question came up, did he ask you what you would do?
Congressman, I've already answered that question in my opening statement.
Do you believe Attorney General Sessions should have recused?
As I mentioned in my answers previously, the recusal decision...
No, do you believe, yes or no, that he should have recused?
Not my
choice.
choice.
Today, I do not have an opinion. I believe he determined it was the right decision for him to make, and so I agree that he made the right decision for him.
Yeah.
Have there been any discussions at the department about pardons for Paul Manafort, Roger Stone, Michael Flynn, or Michael Cohen?
Congressman, we have a very well-worn system
that the president doesn't follow, but have there been discussions about pardons for those individuals that you're aware of, yes or no?
Congressman, as I've been acting attorney general, I have not been involved in any discussions of any pardons, even and including the ones you're discussing.
You made a public statement last week that the investigation was nearly complete. Is that your characterization, or is that Bob Mueller's characterization?
Congressman, that position that I mentioned last week in a press conference was my position as acting attorney general.
Would Bob Mueller, if sitting before us right now, agree with you?
You know, Congressman, Bob Mueller is going to finish his investigation when he wants to finish his investigation.
Is Mr. Mueller honest?
Congressman, I have been on the record about my respect for Bob Mueller and his ability to conduct this investigation.
Do you believe he's honest, yes or no?
I have no reason to believe he's not honest, so yes, I do believe he's honest.
Do you believe he's conflicted, yes or no?
Congressman, as I mentioned regarding recusals, you know, sort of the conflict analysis is for the individual lawyer to make once a matter is before them. And I'm sure that whether it's Bob Mueller, whether it's Rod Rosenstein,
the president has called him conflicted. The president's called him conflicted, and you oversee the investigation. Do you believe that Mr. Mueller's conflicted?
Congressman, as acting Attorney General, I have followed regular order at the Department of Justice, and I have expected that the lawyers and the support staff and agents that work for me follow regular order. And as I sit here today, I don't have any reason to believe that. So you don't believe you believe he's honest, you don't believe he's conflicted. Can you say right now, Mr. President, Bob Mueller is honest and not conflicted? Congressman, I'm not a puppet to repeat what you're saying.
Are you able to say it, or do you not believe it?
I have answered your question as to what I believe about the special counsel. I stand by my prior statement.
Can you say it to the president, though?
No, fuck you.
Congressman, I am not here to be a puppet to repeat terms and words that you say that I should say.
Can you say that to the president?
Regular order.
Fuck off, Saul.
Mr. Chair, he has an answer.
Just to be clear about this.
You did comment on that. I mean, we heard you comment on the Roger Stone investigation. Why would you comment on the Roger Stone investigation, but you are reluctant to answer our questions about the Mueller investigation?
Well, that's a good question, Congressman. And my comments about the Roger Stone investigation were merely to acknowledge that I was aware that CNN had appeared to receive or was
You don't know whether or not the CNN reporter was camped out with no advanced knowledge, or whether or not he was tipped off or not. Isn't that
Congressman, that is true, but I'm very
well, let me move on. Hold on, sir.
Let him answer the fucking question. He should be able to answer the fucking question since his goddamn monkey bitch. This is the motherfucker that thinks if you put too many soldiers on one side of an island, the island will flip over. So that tells you how smart that fucking guy is.
Move on. I'd like to take a moment to better understand your decision not to recuse yourself from the supervision of the special counsel's investigation. Isn't it a fact, sir, that you received your final ethics guidance on this matter on December 19th, 2018?
It was up to him to decide.
I appreciate this question, and I'm glad this is an
It's a pretty
opportunity.
direct question. Did you receive your final guidance on that question
As
on
you know,
December 19th?
we have communicated with Congress the entire process that I went through to address any recusal questions that I might have, and I had no conflict of interest. I had
Let me just ask you, I understand you take that position, but my simple question is, isn't it a fact that you received your final ethics guidance on that question on December 19th, 2018?
Congressman, we laid out very explicitly the process that we went through, and ultimately the decision whether or not to recuse was my decision.
Mr. Whitaker, you were asked the direct. Mr. Whitaker, you were asked a direct question, and it's getting a little tiresome hearing you stall and wasting the member's time. The member only has 5 minutes. He asked you a specific question. Did you last receive advice on that on December 18th? The answer ought to be yes or no, or some other date, or I don't remember. But we don't need a speech. The gentleman may repeat. No, the gentleman may repeat.
No, Mr. Chairman. I mean, if we're going to counsel the witness and act as an attorney on how he should answer, are you answering the question, or is there a witness answering the question?
I'm asking the witness not to stall.
And we have endured that many times here when he's trying to answer the question in the way that he is asked.
Point of order. The gentleman is out of order. Mr. Johnson has the floor.
And I'd like to
Your time will be restored.
Thank you, sir. Sir, isn't it a fact that career officials at DOJ recommended to you that you recuse yourself to avoid an appearance of a conflict of interest or bias? That was the guidance that you got from career DOJ officials.
Yeah, and career DOJ officials, most of their asses got fucking canned for being corrupt. So you'll have to pardon me if I don't take their fucking advice. And it's up to the AG whether he actually recuses himself. I can remember a few times with Eric Holder, he didn't recuse himself. Loretta Lynch didn't recuse herself on the Clinton bullshit. So go pound sand, you fucking monkey-faced fuckhead.
About your participation or oversight of the Mueller investigation, isn't that correct?
Congressman, I made my recusal decision by myself.
But there were career DOJ officials who advised you that you should...
You don't have to take their advice, fuckface.
Congressman?
Yes or no?
I consulted with career ethics officials. I consulted with my senior staff. I consulted with the Office of Legal Counsel. It was my decision to make. I decided not to recuse. I'm happy to walk through the step-by-step advice that I received.
There were four individuals who you consulted who advised you that you had the ability to not recuse yourself from this investigation. Isn't that correct?
Congressman, the regulations actually say
four individuals advised you that you did not have to recuse yourself. Is that correct?
Congressman, let me be clear. It was my decision to make,
sir,
and I made the decision.
In your obstruction and refusal to answer.
I'm not obstructing anything. I'm answering your question.
Well, you are obstructing.
I consulted with a lot of people regarding my recusal, but it was my decision.
Well, you're not telling me who it was. Who did you consult with?
As I mentioned, I consulted with
Name me some names.
I consulted with my senior staff, and I consulted with the Office of Legal Counsel.
Name me some names, sir.
Well, one person would be the Assistant Attorney General for our Office of Legal Counsel.
Her name?
Steve Engel.
And who else?
He's a Senate confirmed.
Who else did you consult with?
I also consulted with his principal deputy.
And that person's name is?
His name is Curtis Gannon.
And who else did you consult with, sir?
Congressman,
I'm asking you a pretty clear question, sir. Who else did you consult with about whether or not you should recuse yourself from the Mueller investigation?
Generally, who did I consult with?
I want to know specifically who you talked to.
Okay, well, I talked to Brad Weinsheimer, who is the senior career official at the Department of Justice.
And he advised you that your recusal was unnecessary, or did he advise you to recuse?
He actually could not identify any precedent for me to recuse. He said it was a close call. He said that, I'm sorry, did you have a question?
Go ahead.
Okay. He said that my other public statements did recognize the professionalism and competence of the special counsel. He said that out of an abundance of caution, that if asked, he would recommend a certain course. But again, did he
recognize that
he also said that
the time of the gentleman has expired.
Can he answer?
Can I finish?
The witness may finish his answer.
Okay. He also said, Congressman, that the decision was mine to make based on the regulations of the Department of Justice, and I made that decision, and I stand by that decision.
Mr.